Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and this is a video response to a question that Philly2K5481 asked in his most recent video, and that is, what is your favourite decade in film? So I definitely wanted to do a video response to this one, and my favourite decade in film is the 1980s. Easily my favourite decade, and not just for movies but for everything. I absolutely loved the 80s, still do. My favourite decade ever, just absolutely love it. The clothing, the hairstyles, the music, and of course the many great movies that I grew up on. So yeah, I wanted to do a video response. I felt it was an excellent question and worthy of a bit of time taken for a vid response. So before I get into showing some of my favourites, I wanted to give a shout out to Philly2K5481, and if you're not subscribed to him, his channel link will be left in the description box below. Please check him out. He does a lot of these sort of videos where he asks the viewers questions, which I think's cool. Great way to interact with everyone. So yeah, head on over and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. He's big into his movies. So yeah, the 80s, best decade for film, as I'm sure a lot of you can agree, and I've just pulled out some of my favourites from my collection, so we're going to take a quick look. So we're going to start with the horror first. Love 80s horror, it's amazing. And we've got some slashers to kick things off with. Intruder, Maniac, My Bloody Valentine, Killer Party, Welcome to Spring Break, which has an absolutely amazing 80s vibe to it. The Burning, Slaughter High, the Friday the 13th franchise, which is amazing. Child's Play, which was the very first horror movie that I saw actually, when I was about 9 or 10, I think. I can remembering renting it out from the VHS store, and I still absolutely love it. It's a great movie. Day of the Dead, which probably has my favourite gore effects from the 80s, absolutely amazing. The Gate, which is really underrated. Night of the Demons. Bad Taste, which in my opinion is Peter Jackson's best movie. It was his first feature film and he did an amazing job on it. I really wish that he'd go back and make movies like this. I really do. The Blob, which is awesome. Dolls, American Werewolf in London, The Evil Dead, which is awesome. The Thing, Monster Squad, awesome film. It wasn't all just about horror for me though, and yeah, I spent a great deal of my childhood watching a lot of these family orientated movies also. The Breakfast Club, which is an excellent teen comedy movie, love it. License to Drive, this one was a recent purchase and a recent watch of mine, and it's now one of my favourites. I thought it was an awesome film. Explorers, Daryl, The Boy Who Could Fly, Lucas, The Wizard, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, all great movies that I grew up on. Some action with Commando, BMX Bandits, which is my favourite Australian movie of all time. E.T., which I'm pretty sure was the first movie that I ever saw, and it's such an amazing film. The Goonies, which is my favourite movie of all time. A little story about this one that I don't think I've ever mentioned before. I may have done, I can't remember, but I used to rent this movie out a lot on VHS. In fact, it was probably the movie that I rented out most, and I can remember one store used to have it in all the time. I was probably the only person to really rent the film out, but I can remember renting it once and watching it so much over the course of the week that I had it that I actually broke the tape, and the shop wasn't too impressed with it, and I had to pay for it, or my mum had to pay for it. But yeah, a little fun fact about that. But awesome film, love it. And The Last Starfighter and The Road Warrior or Mad Max 2. So these are just a few of my favourites from the 80s, and yeah, wanted to do this video response, so I hope you enjoy this one, mate. And guys, once again, if you're not subscribed to Philly2K5481, please do so, and I'm sure he'd appreciate some video responses. Doesn't take too long, guys, and you know, it's a pretty fun and interesting question. So like him, I'm also keen to hear what everyone else's favourite decade in terms of films are. I'm sure a lot of you are big fans of the 80s, I know that, but still it's interesting to have a bit of a discussion on it. So anyway, enough rambling on. This has been the video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks a lot for watching.